What's up, YouTube? I'm back with the video that I promised y'all. So back in 2009, that's when I began to say that I wanted to be a truck driver. I don't know why, but for some strange reason, I always said that I wanted to be a truck driver. Now, due to me getting myself in some trouble, I did not start right then. I actually procrastinated for 10 plus years. It wasn't until I actually hit my breaking point at the job that I was at, and it was a poultry plant. What we call it here in the country is a chicken plant. I reached my breaking point with that job, and I decided to drive trucks, which was 2019. So that was a long time of procrastinating. The way that I started was, I don't know, I was just fed up situations that I basically put myself in. And I put my best foot forward and I started driving trucks. But how it all started was I reached my breaking point with the job and I came up with a plan. And the plan was to have a breast reduction. And I know, it sounds crazy, but my plan was to have a breast reduction. I wanted my boobs to be a little smaller than what they was. Me not knowing nothing about manifesting, I came up with this idea that, okay, if I could go have a breast reduction, something that I wanted to do, but I wasn't desperate about doing, then I know that I would have a month or two off from work. And I needed that month or two off from work. More longer than that, but a month or two would have been good. And that's what it was. Had the breast reduction. I had a month and 2 weeks off from work before I actually went back to work. So my plan was to have the breast reduction. That time that I had off from work, which was at the poultry plant, I was gonna come up with a plan that I was not going to go back. That didn't go like that. I ended up going back, and when I went back, I felt like trash. I felt like I had failed myself because my plans didn't go through the way that I wanted them to. I wasn't selfish with my time the way that I should have been. Pretty much just having fun. And I didn't utilize that time to actually, really just sit down and come up with a plan to not go back. So I went back to the job. I stayed there, I think, probably 2 weeks before I actually told my boss lady at the time that I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to give you my 2 weeks notice and I'm done. And to this day, I still remember her exact words to me. Her exact words to me was, "You making one of the worst decisions of your life." And when she said that, I didn't think twice about it. I'm just like, okay, if I'm making the worst decision of my life, then let me find out for myself. Little did I know, I made one of the best decisions of my life. But that was her words. And she didn't believe me at the time because I had been singing this for a while. Like, I'm going to leave this job, I'm going to leave this job, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So nobody actually believed me when I actually, left and I actually gave her my 2 weeks notice. It wasn't so much of the job, it was just, the people at the job. The people at the job. So what it was I stayed out there a total of 4 years. I think like my third year being out there, I ended up getting a lead position. When I got that lead position, I actually seen everybody's true colors that I thought was my friend, that I thought I was cool with, that I thought loved me, liked me. I was doing double the work that I was doing when I was, on the line of regular employee instead of being the line person. So it wasn't a job I could still do. If I was to go back today, I could do the job with my eyes closed. So it wasn't a job, it was just the people. And what I find out along this journey of me driving trucks is that I am a better person by myself. So that's what happened. I put in my 2 weeks notice and she was surprised, everybody surprised when I told them that I wasn't coming back. When I gave her my 2 weeks notice, that was it. I didn't feel bad about it. I didn't, rethink what it was I had done. I just deep down inside, I felt like I was making the best decision of my life, and I really was. Me just stepping out into, something that I was totally unfamiliar with, but I know that I had got to my breaking point, and if I had not done what I did, then something bad probably would have happened. So yeah, that's the way that I escaped my job. I didn't save up no money. So I have a lot of people asking me like, would you recommend, you know, saving up this amount of money, you know, or just leaving with, I recommend you save some money. I didn't save no money like that. I left with what I had, which wasn't a lot. I left with what I had, and I trusted the process. I moved to, I went to Orlando. I couldn't start school that following week because school is normally like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. So I contacted the school. I did my research when I got down there. I contacted the school, come to find out it was a school maybe like less than 5 minutes away from my mom's house, maybe like 3 minutes, you know. So I was like, cool, you know. So again, you know, as I start driving trucks and I go back and I reminisce on how everything worked out, manifestation is real. But I googled the school, called the school, and the lady said, well, you have to wait 2 to 3 weeks until we start a new class. And I was like, okay. So prior to that, I started cleaning pools. I didn't tell the boss man that, you know, my intentions was to start driving, you know, start trucking school. I went to some nice houses. We was cleaning like celebrity pools. I went to Britney Spears' old house, Backstreet Boys' house, their first house that they purchased. And that pool, I still have that pool in my phone to this day. That's one of the best. Like, it was just the way that they had it designed. It was just amazing the way that they had it designed. Of course I didn't go inside the house, which the house is just a basic house, a 2-story house. But the pool was just everything to me. It was a basketball player. I cannot remember his name. And I actually went to Tracy McGrady house. I guess it was a vacation house or whatever. I met his dad, but Tracy McGrady was never there when we went to clean the pools. And we cleaning these pools like twice a week. And like, he stayed out on this big lake or something like that. Pretty nice. And I still have the badge that I had to use to actually get in the gate. It was a good experience. And that opened my vision to, you know, like, what the world has to offer, because I'm from the country. Being able to experience that meant a lot to me, and that was the beginning of my journey of, you know, a wake-up call for me. So when I got the call back from the lady that class was starting Monday, she asked me was I going to attend, and I told her yes, I would be there. I was there probably an hour or two before class started. Remind you, it was less than 5 minutes to get there, but I was just so determined to, you know, get my CDL and to escape the lifestyle that I was living, that I was there like an hour before. I don't know where this came from. I don't know. It was just, again, it was just God just lead me on the path that it wanted me to go on, because I was planning stuff, not realizing that I was setting myself up for success the whole while, because I was planning. When the 3 weeks that I was cleaning pools, when I got off from work, I already had the CDL book, so I studied the CDL book, and I went and to the DMV, and I had already prepared myself before I started school. So I had already passed general knowledge, air brakes, and combination. I already passed air brakes, and I think it's combination. Shit, I forgot. Oh, that's crazy. But it's 3 parts to the test. I know I passed air brakes, and I want to say combination. And I did pass general knowledge. So when I started school, the instructor asked everybody, you know, who has to go to the DMV to get their permit. And pretty much everybody had to go get their permit for all 3 parts. But then he also asked who only has to take 1 part, 2 part, 3 part. And it was like, oh, I only need 1 part, which was general knowledge. Okay, go to the DMV, do what you got to do, come back. Went to the DMV, took the test, and I passed it just like that. So I actually took general knowledge 3 times before I passed it. The other 2 parts, I passed them on the first try. Went back to the school and went out there to the yard. Went out there to the yard, but this is what I try to tell people. When you start in CDL school, if you can get ahead of yourself, then get ahead of yourself. Go ahead and already have your permit before you start school, and that'll speed up the process for you. It won't speed up the process because the school is still going to be 3 weeks, but you won't have to sit in class and study that book and then go to the DMV, pass it or fail it, and then you could have been out there on the yard, you know, pretty much learning with everybody else. He also asked us at the beginning of class, you know, did we want to test out in a manual or either automatic. Me talking to my pops, that he oh my God, he told me this so many times, I got tired of him. I got to get out this truck because I forgot my car running, but it's good. He told me, he said, whatever you do, He beat this in my head. Do not go through school and get restrictions on your license. I'm like, what did you talk about? He was like, listen to me. Go through school with that manual. You already got the basic of how to drive a manual. It's just more shifts on a truck. So I was like, okay, yeah, I know how to drive a stick. I know the clutch, you know, and I know all that. So he was like, good, it'll be easy for you. So I was like, okay, so that's what I did. So it was 4 of us. We had one of the biggest classes that year that the instructor said. It was like, I think it was like 24, 23 people in that class that year, and it was only 4 of us that wanted to test out in a manual. Everybody else was automatic, and I still thank my pop to this day for telling me that, because I didn't want that restrictions on my license. So I did. So that's what I did, and it was easy. It was a struggle, you know, because they want you to double clutch and, you know, all this and that. Then you got more gears, so when you get the 5th gear, you have to, you know, flip up the button, where you got to flick down the button and then flick up the button and then start shifting, you know, the other gears. But it was nothing. But at that time, we was the last class that was going to be able to test out in a manual, because Warner was taking over Roadmaster Trucking School, all Roadmaster Trucking Schools, and they was getting rid of that manual trucks, and they was only gonna have automatic trucks. So it was like, again, it was God leading me on the path that it wanted me to go down. So when it got time for me to take the test, of course I was scared. Everybody be scared. I was nervous, I was scared, but I took the test, and on the first try, I passed it. I blew my horn. But but you out there testing, I mean, because it's a big yard, so when you out there testing, you can still see, you know, the class and the instructor. So when I opened the door, I was about to put my foot on the steps, and I was just so excited that, you know, I'm opening the door, and I'm like, you know, and then I just seen everybody doing like this, like, you know, everybody was doing like this, and some people were doing like this, like, blow the horn, do not get out without blowing the horn. That's an automatic failure. So I was like, oh shoot, you know what I'm saying, let me put my seatbelt back on, you know what I'm saying, and blow the horn. And the lady was like, whoo, I thought you was going to step out the truck without blowing the horn. And I was like, oh, but I was just so excited that I forgot to do that part. And she was like, it was a lady, she was like, oh man, I thought that you was fit to pull up one more time. And I was so happy that I couldn't even shout, because I said, when I pass this test, I'm going to shout as loud as I can. I'm going to scream. Ain't no shout. I'm going to scream as loud as I can, and I'm going to fall to my knees, and I'm going to give God all the praise. I was so excited that I couldn't even do it. I had tears in my eyes, and I was just like, thank you. Congratulations. You did a wonderful job. The instructors, they came, they hugged me, they told me to go out there and make a difference in the world. Be safe on the road and make a difference. And that moment just was so, it was so touching to me, that want something and to go for it and actually succeed in it. It's amazing. After that, then that's when I called my pops, of course, and I was telling my pops that I passed the test. And he was like, you know, oh man, you know, you telling me that, like, you know, like, he was like, I knew you was gonna do it. So my pops, he real cool, like, he like, yeah, I knew you gonna do it. So that's when he told me, like, okay, now the next step is we need to find a school, or accredited school, that's gonna train you. So, you know, I was like, okay, like, you know, so the company that you want to go to, but God was saying, this is not the company I want you to go to. So eventually I said to hell with Schneider's, and I ended up calling US Express. After that, I called US Express. I talked to the recruiter. She gave me the rundown on everything, and she said that we can get you in orientation, I think it was 2 weeks, because I wanted to enjoy myself. So I told her, I said, no, I don't want to start, because I think I ended up passing that test on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So I said, I don't want to start Monday. Give me, you know, 2 weeks. So she's like, okay, that's cool. So we'll get you a bus ticket, and you can come to Jacksonville and you can start orientation. And that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. I'm gonna leave it right there for now. In the next video, I'm gonna continue with the story. But it's an amazing feeling. And like I say, I was manifesting and didn't realize, you know what I'm saying, I was manifesting. Not ashamed to say it, because I know that it's somebody else out there that was like I was. And me being, you know, not ashamed to say it, then that's going to open somebody else up to not be ashamed of, you know, whatever they're ashamed of. Because I have learned a lot within these 5 years of me driving trucks. You get in this truck and you really get by yourself and you can't hear nobody's voice but yours, and yours and the good God, the universe. Like, man, it's gonna be amazing how your life can, you know, can go from this to this. It's an amazing thing. But as of now, I'm gonna leave the story right there, and I will continue with the other half of the story. So stay tuned.